All right. Basically, what I have shared are some of the topics that I intend us cover this morning. But perhaps we can also give suggestions about the aspects that we'd like to cover based on what we do on a day-to-day basis. So the first column has the aspect that is to be covered, and the second column, application. We are going to do cell basics, data formatting, formula auditing, autosum, sorting, filtering, cell referencing, data validation, pivot tables, conditional formatting, freezing panes, the if function, VLOOKUP, data entry shortcuts, protecting sheets, finding and replacing specific data entries, basic data importing, solver, among others. Perhaps there is some other aspect that we'd like to include, such as printing. For instance, how can you print a huge data set in Microsoft Excel? I'm still getting feedback that my audio device is not audible enough. Is that true, Ezekiel?
Yes, Abel, you keep on getting disconnected. We hear you from afar.
Let me try to use my mobile phone. Just a minute. Ezekiel, you might now want to confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, it's better now. Hear you.
I'm using my phone. Are there any echoes?
Yeah, there's a little echo from the background.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better. That's good, actually.
All right. Just like I had said, these are some of the concepts that we intend to cover today. Quite a number, but then we are going to see how to best go about them without creating a strain in terms of time from your side. We had intended that we could do formal introduction so that I can then also get to know some of your members from your end. Like I had said earlier, we are already a team, but self-introduction could actually work better. So far, we've heard from Ezekiel. I don't know what you can say about this program, Ezekiel, in a second. Any other aspects that you'd like to learn today?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity once again, Abel. I think from the outline you've provided, I'm really interested in VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP, and also the if and end function, which you've covered. That's what I'm really interested in.
Thank you for that. How about Chris? Bruce? Rachel? Anne? I'm totally unable to hear from your end.
Yeah, well, yes, I think the outline you have shared, I'm super interested with the formulas. And let me say everything, especially the basic things for exam.
Okay, thank you very much. Then without further ado, I'm going to officially get started with the understanding the cell basics. That is the very basic aspect that we usually start with. Once we are clear with the cell basics, then all the other aspects are going to be quite interesting and simple. Okay, I want to share my entire screen. I hope I did. I'm sharing my entire screen so that I can show you how to access Microsoft Excel from the menu. And you can kindly confirm that you are seeing my entire screen.
Yes, Abel.
All right, so in order for you to access Microsoft Excel, this is what you do. You first go to the Start menu, you click there. You will see Excel among your applications. You go to it and pick it, double left click to open it. Again, if you don't want to follow that route, yes?
I think we cannot see what you're doing. Okay, from my side, I cannot see. Maybe someone else can confirm.
Sorry, let me stop sharing, then I share again. I wanted to share my entire screen. I'm not seeing the option for sharing my entire screen, unfortunately. But I hope you can see my cursor, Anne. Please confirm. It's at the bottom left corner.
Yes.
So at the bottom left corner where we have the Start menu, that is where you click. Because I'm not sharing my entire screen, I think you may not be able to see the pop-ups. Once you click there, you will be given a list of options or applications that are already installed in your computer. You go to Microsoft Excel. Alternatively, you can go to your desktop, click anywhere, right click anywhere, then you go to New. Once you go to New, you will be able to select Microsoft Excel worksheet. Then you rename it to a name that you'd like to use for that purpose. So basically today, what we are going to do, we are going to start with the cell basics. Allow me to share the blank workbook. I hope you can see something on the screen. So basically what we have here is a blank Microsoft Excel worksheet that has rows and columns. The rows are given as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. Whereas the columns are given by letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on and so forth. So basically, when we talk about Excel cell, normally we refer to the interactions between the rows and columns. For instance, if you want to identify that particular cell where my cursor is, that is A1, meaning it's in column A, row number 1. If it is this one where my cursor is, once again, that is E2, column E, row number 2. So basically, that is what we are going to do. For instance, if we talk about A2, this is A2. We are going to identify them by their locations. This is B5, meaning it's in column number B, then row number 5. Basically, that is what we are going to do. You also need to understand the aspect of sheets. For instance, down here, you can see we have sheet. You can rename it. If you don't want to use sheet 1, you can call it data from XXX. Then if you want to add another sheet, you click on this posting icon or plus sign to add another sheet. Automatically, Excel will rename it for you as sheet 2, but you can also give it a different name. For instance, you can call it Vantage data. Again, if you don't like the color here, you can right click and use a different color. For instance, we can have a purple. Here we can also have another color, maybe green. If you want other colors, you can still change as per your needs. Those are for aesthetic purposes. Basically, that is how the Excel cell looks like. Another aspect that I perhaps want to introduce at this very onset is the aspect of, allow me to remove this. The aspect of the ribbon up here. I hope you can see my cursor. On the ribbon, we have insert, we have home, we have page layout, we have formulas, we have review, we have view, we have developer. Some of you may not have developer because there is a whole process of activating this. But then you have an opportunity to add as many items and commands on the ribbon.
Nani nisaidie charge yako?
The commands. Hello?
Nisaidie charger, cable.
Kindly mute. We can hear you asking for the charger. All right. So basically, if you want to add more commands on the popular command ribbon, you go to File. Once you go to File, we have options. From the options, you can either go to Add-ins or you go to Customize ribbon. I prefer Customize ribbon because this is the one that then tells you about what kind of popular commands that we have. You can see them listed here on the left. Those are the popular commands. We also have the main tabs. For instance, if you don't want this one to appear on among the popular commands, you simply uncheck the box. If you want it to appear, you check the box. As you can see, I have activated developer. From your end, you might not be having developer and solver. But then you can still add them depending on your preferences and how frequently you use those applications. Another command that might not be appearing from your end, if you go to add-ins here, down here there is a go. You click on go. Data analysis might not be active from your end. If you click on data, if it is not active, for instance, let me deactivate and then activate. If you go to data, you will not see data analysis. But then if you activate it by going to File, Options, Add in, Go, Data Analysis, you will be able to see it here. This is where you can access and find a number of useful tools, such as the tools that can help you to run the ANOVA. ANOVA is analysis of variance, correlation. We don't want to delve into that because today we are doing the basic aspects of Microsoft Excel. Basically, that is it about the Excel cell and the command. Again, we had intended to cover the data formatting, things such as font styles and other aspects. At this very juncture, I'd like to request you that you type your email addresses on the public chat so that I can then be able to share some sample data sets with you. The ones that we are going to use for demonstrations in a short while, so that you are able to relate what I'm doing from my end and what will be happening from your side as well. Take a second and type your email addresses on the public chat, kindly. Thank you, Praise. Let us move faster if possible. All right. I will send to those who have responded, and then I request you to share with those others that will not have typed their email addresses for now. Okay, kindly confirm receipt of the data sets that I have sent. And we are going to shortly open the one that we are calling employee sample data. And you can kindly confirm that you have received. Rachel, if you have received, can you confirm?
Yeah, I've received.
Please open the one that is labeled employee data set or employee sample data. Let me see. Let me share it on the screen. So basically, we are going to use this data set to see how we can do data formatting. For instance, we can apply font styles, cell colors, borders, and number formats for clarity. I will also show you how you can print this data set without challenges. Once you open it, please confirm so that we can then formally move together. Ezekiel? Isabel, kindly confirm that you have received yours. Have you opened it? Joanne?
Yes, I have.
All right. You can see my screen as well, right?
Yes.
All right. Basically, there are a number of things that we can do with this kind of data set. For instance, we can apply font styles, cell colors, borders, and number formats for clarity. I will start with the fonts. There are ways of doing it. For instance, I can select the entire sheet by clicking here. Kindly confirm that you can see my cursor, Isabel.
Yes, I can.
It is at the top right within the workspace. So if I click there on that particular cell, then I select the entire sheet. If my intention is to change the font type for the entire sheet, then that is where I click. Then I can, for instance, change that to Arial Black. I usually prefer my Yandra. That is where you change the font. That is my Yandra. You can do Times New Roman. Most academicians or scholars like you guys prefer Times New Roman. So you can type there Times New Roman and change it to Times New Roman. Then again, we also have the font size. Font size, maybe you want a smaller size, you can go to 10, or you want a bigger size, you can go to 14 or whichever size that you prefer for visual appeal. Again, you might want to change the entire sheet, the theme colors. For instance, you can have green. You can have blue. But even as you change these colors, please make sure that you pick a color that will not be too shouting, that will not have a visual appeal that is informal. I usually prefer it the way it is, not too shouting, because some people don't like work that is not properly formatted. By properly formatted, I mean some people, those people mostly that are more than 45 years and above, they don't want a lot of complications. So you can go to no field. For instance, if you suspect that somebody is likely to be affected by the kind of color that you have picked. Some people you see can judge your work by looking at the kind of things that you are doing, unnecessary things. They might even think that you are idle. That is why you are complicating matters. Nevertheless, if you want to pick a specific theme for your work, that is where you go. And then this one is for the automatic theme. For instance, this one is automatic. That is why this is like black automatically. That is it. Again, there are a number of things that you can do. For instance, you can view here. If you want to scroll through this sheet, once you reach there, you note what is happening to the first row. It disappears. So for instance, if you scroll up to that far, you are no longer sure about what this particular aspect is. If you want to make sure that the first row remains as it is, you click there. I hope you are seeing where I have clicked. On number 1, I clicked on number 1. Then you go to freeze panes. Under freeze panes, you have a number of options. For instance, you can keep rows and columns visible while the rest of the worksheet scrolls. Then you can also freeze top row, or you freeze first column. So again, depending on what you want to do, you can freeze top row so that as you scroll, that one remains clearly visible as it is now. So that this work is properly presented. As someone scrolls down, they clearly can tell that this is a bonus, this is city, this is country, this is exit date, and so on and so forth. This data becomes somehow self-explanatory because of the column titles. Another question, if you want to print this kind of data set, let us assume that we are printing. There are a number of ways that you can apply when you want to print this kind of data. You can go to File, then under File, there should be Print somewhere. Yeah, there is Print there. As you can see, some aspects of this data have been expunged or annexed. So if you print it, it will not have a very good visual appeal because from employment ID, full name, job title, department, then it breaks there. The pattern breaks there. It doesn't look good. So if you want to make sure you get it right, rather than you doing things as an omnibus or mass wedding, you want to show some organization. So you first select the data, the area that you want to print, the printing area. Once you do that, on your keyboard, or you, I wanted to give you a shortcut of printing. You first select, right? Once you select, on the keyboard, you can hold it down the Control key. Then you press P. That is the key for printing. As you can see, some columns have been expunged, but don't worry. I'm going to show you in a second how to fix that. So down here, there is no scaling. Print active sheets, collated, portrait. We can change this later. Ezekiel, kindly confirm that you can still hear me and you can see my menu. And you can confirm if we are still online.
Yes.
All right. Then what happens here, for instance, rather than you printing the active sheets, you can print selection. Once you say print selection, you move down here and change this one from portrait to landscape. You see some more details are coming on board. Then where it is written normal margins, maybe you can change to narrow margins. Again, where it is written no scaling, you can say fit all columns on one page. Now you see we have all the details on the print area. Now, before I exit this option of scaling, again, perhaps you wanted to print the entire sheet on one page. I know it will be so tiny, but depending on your preferences, maybe it is a Kenya, zile wanafunzi wanatumia, you can go to fit to one sheet. As you can see, it is going to be so tiny, almost not visible. But now this is where you play around with your settings to make sure that there is a good visual appeal and a good fitting to ensure that whoever is going to read this data will not be strained. Basically, that is how you go about it. This is the juncture where I need to give an opportunity to you so that you can also demonstrate from your end to ascertain as whether learning is taking place. But we had agreed that we are going to have the practical session later in the afternoon. So unless there is something that is really not going well, you can stop me and ask a question. But take note that we are going to do a practice in the afternoon. For instance, I will ask somebody to show us how they can print a particular data set using these steps that we have undertaken this morning. Another aspect that we wanted to do is using formulas such as the average, sum and average for calculations. Perhaps we can still use this same data set to do the averages and the sums. This data set runs from cell reference A1 all the way down to A1001, then across from column A to column O, and the O goes down to O1001. What if you are an organization like Vantage Africa School of Leadership and you want to make a few calculations? Maybe you want to know the total sum of money that you are paying your employees. Or maybe you want to know the average age of your members of staff. This is how we go about it. For instance, I want to know the average age. So you put your cursor there, and there are a number of options. For instance, on the ribbon, you can go to formulas. Under formulas, you can see we can insert a function, you can insert auto sum, all those. For instance, if you want to do auto sum, you go there, and that is auto sum. But why could you do an auto sum for people's age? It might not be a good idea for you. Maybe what you need to do, rather than doing auto sum, is for you to do the average so that you can determine the average number of years for your employees. So you put equal signs there, average. All formulas in Microsoft Excel start with the equal signs. So average. Remember, our data begins from H1 to H1001. But in H1, there is a title that we are calling age. So you can say we want to sum from H to full colon. Full colon means all the way to H1001. And then you enter. So on average, the average age of an employee in this organization is 44.4 years. How about their annual salary? Again, you can do a summation or average. On average, an employee of this organization gets, let me see, average salary. Again, it is starting from J1 to J1001, but remember in J1 we have a title. So we are saying J2 full colon to J1001. You close the brackets and enter. So on average, someone is going home with $113,217 US. Again, you can do a number of things depending on what you want. We are going to come back to this data set because we are relying on it when it comes to the lookup functions. So before I exit this page, I also want to show you where you can access the functions in Microsoft Excel. So this is where you can access the functions in Excel. If you click there, you go to formulas on the ribbon, then insert function. We have a number of functions that you can utilize here. There is a scroll button here. So you can have all those. These are the ones that I've used recently, but then you can also pick from a group of most recently used. Financial, if you say all, then you will be able to see all of them. All those are the functions that you can use in Microsoft Excel, quite a number. But basically they are categorized into financial functions, data and time, mathematics and trigonometry, statistical, lookup and reference, database, text, logical, information. You can also define your own functions that you can use in Microsoft Excel, engineering, cube, compatibility, and web. There are quite a number. We are going to see how you can utilize some of these functions in your day-to-day activities. So that is it about the simple formulas such as sum, average. Then I also want to show you how you can sort data in Microsoft Excel. Again, while this data set, we can do the following. Perhaps you want to know the oldest employee in your organization. Remember their age is in column H. So when sorting data in Microsoft Excel, you need to be careful in order for you to avoid making errors. If you make errors, you are likely to interfere with everything. For instance, when you are sorting data, if you are not careful, you might realize that the information that is relevant to Ann Paul has gone to another person. Maybe it's gone to Rachel, has gone to Mary or someone else. So in order for you to avoid that kind of mistakes, every time you sort, ensure that you select your entire data set. Make sure that you select your entire data set, just like we had done while trying to print. Select the entire range. I hope you can see my screen. Once we select, we do the selection. Next, this is what you are going to do. You go to the ribbon. The option for sorting data is in the button home. So when you click on the home button, there are a number of options that you will be able to access and utilize. As you move towards the right on the ribbon, you realize that we have a sort and filter there. So click there to organize your data so it is easier to analyze. You can sort using a preferred criteria, or you can filter. For instance, I want us to go to custom sort. When you go to custom sort, you are able to determine the criteria. For instance, I want us to sort by not department. Of course, you can sort by department. Let us start by department, so that if they are in IT, they are grouped together. If they're in finance, again, they are grouped together. If they're in human resource, they are grouped together, marketing, and so on and so forth. So that is it. For instance, you can see all the accountings have been grouped together. And usually before you sort any kind of data, make sure that you take note of the details and make random confirmation that the data has not been mixed up. So that if a particular person is 40 years, you confirm later that they are still 40 years even after sorting, because if you are not careful, you might end up messing up with its data. That is it. Again, we can also sort using another criteria. For instance, rather than department, we can sort using age. Then you will be asked to specify which order. I want largest to smallest. Okay. Again, the oldest is 65. Our retirement age in Kenya is 60. I don't know why these ones are still employing people who are 65 years and above. Perhaps it depends on their policy. Basically, that is how we sort. At this very juncture, I want to get feedback from Bruce. Kindly confirm that you can still hear me. Tell me something about the speed. Are we moving very fast or very slowly?
Excuse me, sir. We are good. The speed is okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Isabel, thank you for that confirmation. Isabel,
Yeah,
tell me about my speed. Do you want us to move faster or slower or maintain the speed?
the speed is okay.
Joanne, Jojo?
The speed is okay.
Okay, thank you for that confirmation. So that is how you do the sorting. And I'd also like us to do what we call cell referencing. We are going to take a few minutes here. Because when it comes to cell reference,
Hello, sir. Before you proceed, I think someone has got a question.
yes, please ask. I hope you can hear me. Please ask. Or if you if you have a data set that you'd like us to refer to a specific one, we can still share the same because we are not so much in a hurry to cover content. Is to make sure that we do things that are more relevant to our daily routines. Yes, sir. Move on.
Hello, Mr. Abel. I have a question about sorting. So what if you have seen the way you have sorted, you have copied the whole information. So what if you try to sort from A to Z, what will happen?
From A to?
A to Z.
A, B, C.
No.
A to Z.
Yes.
All right. There are a number of ways of going about it. First, make sure that you select your data set. We've agreed on that one. Don't mute, madam.
Okay.
So once you select, you simply go to the home button, then sort and filter. You can still sort from A to Z. That is smallest to largest. But now which column? Because now if you are sorting from A to Z, automatically it will pick the very first column. Now, remember the first column has E, and E has numbers. So it will start from the E that has the smallest number to the E that has the largest number. But to avoid making errors and mistakes, make sure you go to the one that has a custom sort so that you are sure about what you are instructing the application to do. So you go there, maybe you want to sort by age, smallest age to largest age to smallest age. If for instance, you want to select another level, you want to add another level, having sorted them from largest age to smallest age, then you can also sort by department. So within every department, you will get largest age to smallest age. And then under department, we can categorize them from department A to department Z using the letters A to Z. Then you click OK. For instance, you can see we have for those who are 65 years, we have those that are in sales and marketing. Some of them are in IT. Priority has been given to, okay, if you go here, we have levels under custom sort. The very first priority is age. So you start with whoever is older, then you go to whoever is. So for every age category, you also categorize them further into departments. For instance, as you can see here, we have those that are 65 years. Some of them are in finance and engineering, but for departments, E comes before F and F comes before H, because again, in this department, we are sorting them alphabetically. Madam, back to you.
Yes, I think that's noted.
All right. So for instance, you might want to sort the first 2 columns or 3 columns, and you will make a mistake. Please note what is happening to these names of department. If you sort without selecting the entire sheet, you will potentially make mistakes, because it will give you. Wait a minute. Let me do away with the criteria first. It will bring errors because the information that will be for Regio will go to someone else. Delete label, delete label. Mine is not active because of the kind of settings that I have put. Basically, if you want to sort without errors, first step, select the entire data set. Next step, specify the sort or filter criteria. Then do the sorting. That way you will not make errors. No. I want us to move to the aspect of cell referencing. For instance, we said this is a cell reference. A1. Let me see if we can still remember that. Chris, kindly unmute. Chris, I hope you can hear me. If Chris cannot hear me, let us go to. Oh, that is Chris. If Chris cannot hear me, then we can go to Joan.
Yes.
This is cell reference. What we had said that we identify cells by their column number and row number. So that is A what?
A1.
Thank you. For instance, if we have 40 there or 56 there, and then we want to refer to that same cell using direct reference, we can say that H6 is equal to A1. If you put equal signs there and say that is A1, you've tied the 2 cells. So the contents of A1 will be the same contents of H6. So basically, if this information changes, if we have a 09 there, and then the 9 will also go there. If we have 100 there, the 100 or 1,000 will again move to that particular cell, because we've done some direct reference to the cell A1. So within a spreadsheet, you can do direct references. What if I want to refer to formulas? For instance, I have product, costs, and then we also have we can have a product quantity, or the number. Quantity is the number. Then cost per unit, cost per unit. Then we can also have total. Total cost. Assume that we have items such as some groceries. We have lemon. And so on and so forth. These are the titles. I hope they are clear. For instance, we have 34 pieces, we have 5 pieces, and 20 or 67 pieces. If the cost per one orange is 20 bob, then this one is 60 and 90. If you want to do relative cell references, that is the most default. You don't even need any experience to do relative cell references, because that one is a formula that will readjust itself automatically downwards as you move from one cell reference to the other. For instance, if you want to do a product or a multiplication for the two, that is quantity. For instance, if we have 20 oranges and each orange costs 20 shillings, we are going to use an asterisk. Asterisk in Microsoft Excel means multiply or multiplication. You can click on it directly or type. For instance, you can type equals to B2 times C2. Okay, if you click inside this cell reference on the formula bar, I hope you can see my cursor. We have B2 asterisk C2. So that is a product of B2 and C2. It's a multiplication. If you have thousands of entries below here, you don't need to start from scratch. You simply need to either click and drag, or hover at the bottom right of that cell. Then you double left click, and it will adjust itself automatically up to the 1,000 entry, the 1,000 entry. So as we move from B2 to B3 to B4, the formula will readjust itself from B2 C2, B3 C3, B4 C4. So that is relative cell reference. It is relative to its location. So it will readjust itself automatically as you move down. If you, for instance, take it to there, this is a multiplication of B5 C5, B6 C6, B7 C7, B8 C8, B9 C9. Assuming that you have entries such as 7, 8, and 10, or maybe 19 and 200, the formulas will readjust themselves automatically as you move down because of the relative positions. How about if you are being told that for every sales you make, you will get a profit of 10%, for instance, that for every money you make for us, we are going to pay you some commission. So let us have a commission amount. Commission. And we want to say, maybe we can say 8% is okay. So commission amount. If we are going to calculate the commission amount, the relative reference will not work. for this particular one because the commission is 8% and it is fixed as cell reference E2. So this is what we are going to do, equal signs. For instance, this will sell that amount. You multiply by that one, and you realize it is 54.4. How about you try to readjust it downwards? You see, all the rest becomes 0 because there is nothing here to be readjusted, nothing there to be readjusted, nothing there, and so on and so forth. So basically what we need to do in order for us to be sure that we are sure about what we are doing, you click on the formula. You realize the formula is D2, E2. Ask yourself this simple question. Do I in column D, we have different entries for each columns. For instance, as you move from D2 to D3 to D4 to D5, there are entries and each entry is unique. How about in column E? Do we to have that one changing from E2 to E3 to E4 to E5? The commission is fixed. Ezekiel? And Rachel? Rachel Mwongela? Joy?
To some point you are unclear, so I'm lost.
Sorry?
To some like to some point you are not clear. So I got lost. It's the commission, from the point of commission. Just the first.
So I am asking a simple question. For instance, when we were talking about relative cell reference, we said it is okay to readjust the entries as we move down the columns or down the rows. But for this particular one, for commission, remember the commission amount is in, or the commission rate is in E2, but there is nothing in E3, E4, E5 as you move downwards. Is there a need for us to readjust that formula automatically downwards as we move from E2 to E3, or we need to fix it there?
Because the commissions are constant, I don't think we need to readjust.
Yes, thank you for that. And in order for us to do that, that is what I want to show you. We need to lock cell E2 such that as we move downwards, Excel will know that this particular individual wants to lock it there so that it doesn't readjust itself as we move elsewhere. But for column D, we need to leave it free so that it readjusts, because as we move from D2 to D3 to D4 to D5, there are different amounts and they are all unique to our products. These are people making those sales and they need a commission. So in order for us to fix it, you have two ways of doing it. You can either use $ manually, or you press function key F4. I just pressed mine, and there are $ before E and another $ before 2. So the $ before the column and the another $ before the row locks that particular cell. Whether you are moving horizontally or vertically, the contents of that cell will not change. Then you click OK. Now, if you drag this formula downwards, there will be respective commission amounts for each product. For instance, this is, as we move to this one, the formula is D3 E2 D4 E2, D5 E2, D6 E2, D7 E2, D8 E2. It's locked there. It cannot change because we want to utilize it in situ without moving it from where it is. Because as you move from E2 to E3, you will get a 0 because there are no entries there. Joy, are you getting the concept? Joy?
Kindly repeat how you inserted the dollar sign without doing it manually.
All right. We put this dollar sign by pressing F4 on your keyboard. There are function keys F1, F2, F3, F4. So you just press F4. If it is not working from your end, then you need to hold down the function key or control or shift. But mine works without pressing the function key. So you simply press the F4 key and you will be there. The first time you press it, there will be $2 signs. If you press it a second time, there will be what you are seeing. It starts here. It has locked both the column and the row. If you press it a second time, it has locked the row only. If you press it a third time, it has locked the column only. Then if you press it again, it unlocks everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Is yours working?
Mine is not working, but I've gotten what I'm supposed to do, but it's not F4, it's not working.
F4.
Yeah.
Let me confirm from another one. Are you using a laptop or a desktop?
A laptop.
Isabel?
Yeah.
Is yours working?
No, it's not.
Ezekiel?
Mine is equally not working.
Are you able to put them manually?
Let me try manually.
Take a second.
Nadhani sikuwa naifanya ukipinya shift na hiyo F4 bado haifanyi.
Ufai kufanya shift. Unafaa tu kufanya hivi na kuja bado haikuji.
Hebu jaribu kuifinya na shift ona kama itakuja.
Hivi kuja na shift. Oh, already happy za formula.
Still not working?
It's working from my side now. I've used it manually. I've keyed in manually.
Perhaps we can try I prefer shortcuts because sometimes I'm lazy. So if you insert them manually, you can potentially delay in completing an assignment, right? Are you able to share your screen? Madam? Hello? Ezekiel, is yours finally working?
Yeah, I've had to type it manually.
Sorry? No. Manual is not fair enough. Are you able
Maybe
to share your
try.
screen? Let me stop sharing mine before you can share yours. Okay.
I'm unable to share my screen currently.
Are you able to share?
I'm unable to share it.
Ezekiel. Try sharing now. Ezekiel. If still unable, we can maybe proceed, but I hope you should be able to share now. Please confirm. Bruce, am I still audible?
Yep, yes.
Okay. I seem to have lost Ezekiel. Since we are going to have a practice session, I think I hope Ezekiel is not speaking behind a muted microphone. All right, let me share my screen once again. This one I will move a bit slower because of its intended use. Bruce, kindly confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, there are a number of things that you can do to protect the integrity of your data. And by data integrity, I mean accuracy and traceability or originality, such kind of things brought together. For instance, if you don't want people to edit your document or your workbook, you can protect it using a password. And this is how you go about it. You go to File. Once you go to File, you go to Publish. No, not Publish. File, Protect Workbook. So you put a password there. If you have a reason that will make you protect it with a password, then that is where you go. You can encrypt with a password. you can protect current sheet, you can protect workbook structure and other things. But be cautious when you are doing this, because if you forget your password, there is no other person that will be able to open that workbook, unless you contact Microsoft maybe. So you go to File, Protect Workbook. That is where you encrypt it with a password. For instance, you can give it a password. It will prompt you to re-enter the password as a confirmation that you know what you are setting as a password. As you can see now, a password is required to open this workbook. If you save it to some other location, it's in the downloads, demo. If you try to open this particular one, it will ask for a password. As you can see, it is asking for a password, and screen sharing has stopped. Okay. Basically, it will ask for a password before you can utilize its contents. Let me reopen it. I don't know why today I'm unable to share my entire screen. Bruce, am I becoming a challenge to the user for this particular platform?
No.
I wanted to share my entire screen, but was unable. I hope you can now see my screen. I shared it back. Immediately I closed my screen, I was told that I'm off. I can no longer share my screen. Oh, so that is it. I hope we can all set passwords for our spreadsheet or workbooks. Another thing that you can do is for you to go to review. Then you can protect sheet. This one prevents unwanted changes from others by limiting the ability to edit. For example, you can prevent people from editing locked cells or making formatting changes. Again, you can protect your workbook by keeping others from making structural changes to your workbook, such as moving, deleting, or adding sheets. If you want to protect a sheet, remember this is not the entire workbook. This is a specific sheet. For instance, sheet 5. You can restrict people or allow users for this worksheet to select locked cells, select unlocked cells, format columns, all those options. If there is a small tick in this box, it means you've allowed them to select locked cells, select unlocked cells, format cells. Again, you can put a password there to prevent them from making those changes. Then you can also do another thing that we call data validation. For instance, you can restrict them about what to enter, and that is for accuracy. Assume that we have names here, such as Ezekiel. Those are your members of staff. We have Rachel. We have Ann Paul. We have, who else do we have? Isabel and Bruce. We have Anne. We have Bruce. And so on and so forth. For instance, this is a list that you want to utilize somewhere and you don't want to allow people to type in names manually. So what do you do? When we talk about data validation, this is what we are talking about. So rather than your payroll managers typing the names of employees manually that can potentially lead to errors, you simply go to column A. Data validation is in data. So this green tick and a small red circle is where you do the validation. You click there, then go to data validation, allow a list. Maybe you want to have a list. The source of that list is in sheet 6, and our list is there. Once we do that and put OK, now rather than them typing names of people there, they will just click there and select from a drop-down menu. Now, those are the people. You will either choose Ezekiel, Rachel, and Paul, and so on and so forth. You will have no opportunity to type in a name that might be incorrect or misspelled. Another way you can validate data is for you to allow numbers that are falling within a range. This is how we go about it. You select the column, go to data validation. Rather than you picking any value, we want whole number that is between, maybe the least person is paid 20,000 and the maximum amount is 500,000. Then input message, when someone places a cursor on that particular cell, what are they going to get? Acceptable salary. Then input message, please. Then you can also have an error alert. Title can be stop or warning. Can be wrong entry. Then error message, please consult the payroll manager. Please consult the payroll manager. You click OK. And as you can see now, we have a notification there that the acceptable salary is between 20,000 and 50,000. So here again, if you try to key in 70,000, it's acceptable, but 700 is not acceptable because it falls short of the expectations. You cannot pay somebody 7,000 because the minimum is 20,000. How about if I want to pay 1 million? Again, 1 million will not be accepted because it is more than your company policy of paying staff or compensating staff. How about 200,000 acceptable because it falls within range. So that is how you can restrict. Again, you can also validate using another criteria. There are a number of criterion that you can use. Criteria that you can use. You can use whole number, list, date, text length. You can even customize and come up with a different criteria altogether. Basically, that is it about data validation. Any question regarding data validation? Kindly confirm that we are still together. Rachel Mwongela.
Yeah, we are together.
Any question, madam? Perhaps if you have more than questions, one question, we can reserve them for the afternoon practice session. But if there is a burning question, please ask it now. That is again a confirmation that we are still following together, Rachel. Joan?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
No.
All right. Then next, I'd like us to introduce the aspect of visualization, data visualization. For data visualization serves a purpose of simply, for instance, if you have, what can I say? Let us assume that you are from Vantage Africa School of Leadership, and we have entries for the income that comes from leadership management. We have advanced Microsoft Excel. We have SPSS. We have consultancy, among others. And maybe for these entries, for instance, you get 2 million from this. This is 56 something. I'm just guessing arbitrary figures for demonstration purpose, and this is that is it for consultancy. And you want to do visualizations for this. Simply what you need to do is for you to select the entries. Then you go to insert. You can go to recommended charts. Select the most appropriate for you. You can use a pie chart, but I prefer this one for now. So that is the amount of money that you are making. Again, you can now decide to do a different visualization. You can pick from the design. Up here, when you click inside this chart, you will be given an option to change the design and format. For instance, you prefer that one, this one, this one. Depending on your preference and the visual appeals, you can pick from among the options. Again, you can change chart type over here. You can add chart elements. For instance, axis titles, chart title, data table, error bars, legend, trend line, and so on and so forth. So you can see which one best describes your data and add it. But today we are doing the basic aspect. For instance, this is income comparison. So at a glance, you can tell that this is leadership and management, that amount, advanced Excel, that amount, SPSS, that amount, consultancy, that amount. And if it drops, you can easily tell. So depending on what kind of visualization you'd like to see. And visualization usually improves decision making. Again, you can have your access titles. For instance, you can say this is income. And then down here, you can say department. Department. So income and department, and then you give the title. Again, if you are not satisfied, you can still have data labels. If you don't want them, you can remove them. But if you want them again, you can put them there. Data table, it can be down there. Trend line, if you want it. But you can choose from among the options given. Again, you can predict how much you will make in 10, 20 years. So before we proceed, I want to confirm if you received a data set that we are calling, let me see what we have called it in the attachment. Give me a second. I want to confirm something. Kindly open the data set that we have called data forecasting. I'm waiting to hear from you. Looks like now I'm sharing my entire screen. I can see. Please access and open this data set, the one that you are seeing on your screen. I'm relying on Bruce to confirm. Once you open it, we shall proceed.
It's opened. I've opened it.
All right. Again, at Vantage Africa, you can do a simple prediction about how things are going to work out tomorrow. Assume that this is the date and the amount of money, maybe income that you are making. So this runs from 2019 all the way to 2020. And perhaps you want to predict the trend for the future. The very first aspect is for you to key in data, as simple as this. In column A, have the date. In column B, the income. Maybe you can say income in brackets in Kenya shillings or dollars. Kenya shillings or dollars, whichever you want to call it. So we want to know if our company is going to be a going concern in the next 2-3 years, or 10, 20 years, or 40 years from now, using Microsoft Excel. We want to predict scenarios using Microsoft Excel. This is how we do it. You simply click anywhere inside this data. These are simply dates and the money that you are making. Once you click there, you go to insert, line graph. For instance, this is a simple line graph. Again, like I had said earlier, you can change the visual appeal by picking from among these options. Yeah, I like the default option. So go to the tail end of this line graph and right click. Bruce, kindly confirm that you can see my pop-up menu. It's a tiny one.
Yes, it's visible from my end.
Yeah, then we go to add trend line. We started off by clicking at the tail end, then we went to add trend line. You pick the one that best describes your data from among these options. That is exponential, logarithmic, polynomial, power, moving average. I leave it at exponential. According to me, that is the best that is the one that best describes my data. Then you can go to the forecast here. We are moving forward. Remember, this is 5th July 2019. This is 5th August 2019. This is 5th September 2019. So it seems like we are moving 1 month at a time. So what we can do, if we want to predict using months, maybe we can do 3 years is equivalent to how many months, Bruce?
36.
36. We can say maybe we want to move forwards by 36 and see what happens. So in 3 years, that is where we are going to be. How about we do 300? It will be like that in 300 months to come. Again, you can set an intercept or display an equation. That is an equation, the R squared. You can also display equation on chart. If you want to calculate using mathematical concepts, those are the equations automatically again generated from Excel. So that is how things are going to be in the future. There are those ones of us, including me, who don't want things that are doing with mathematics, mahesabu mingi. Nataka vitu rahisi. So if you one of us, there is another way of going about this without much problems. So there is a simpler way. You simply go to data. That is a simple way of generating data. Then you go to forecast sheet. You click forecast sheet. Remember here now we have 3 lines. To be precise, using the prediction, we have the blue line that ends here. Then we have a tiny orange line above and a thicker orange line in the middle and a lower tiny orange line. Again, here we have a forecast end. It ends in May 2020. You can change this to maybe 2021. Then once you are okay with it, perhaps I can explain the 3 orange lines. One is the income, the one in blue, the income that you have gotten so far up to 2020. Then we have a forecast of income in orange. We have the lower confidence bound and the upper confidence bound. Then you also have options down there where you can select some things to include manually. To me, this looks okay. Then you click predict. Let us pick a date. You can move there. I'm trying to change. My computer is hanging a bit. I'm trying to change the periods there to somewhere in 2021. Then I create. So once you create, if you move downwards, remember we have 2 columns, that is data and income, but we also have the orange lines. So towards the tail end, you will be able to see more data columns for the prediction for the upper bound and lower bound. Yeah, those ones now. These are the predicted trend for the future. That is how much money you are going to make. So we have 2 additional columns after end of prediction to show you how the future will look like. So that is it about data prediction. Again, we can also utilize something that we call solver for the scenarios. Again, I had shared some other data set that we are calling goals it can solver. Please take a second and open it. We are not doing so well in terms of time. I don't know if it is about me or we were a bit ambitious about who is going to confirm this now. Chris, kindly confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Basically, this is another aspect that you can use to predict how the future will be like. For instance, you want to ask yourselves a number of questions. For instance, how many cookies do I need to sell to break even? This is a small business that sells cookies. So we have number of cookies sold, unity price, unity cost, and fixed cost. Fixed cost can be things such as rent, the amount that you pay your employees, such kind of things that are not negotiable. Like you cannot readjust them, those are fixed. Unity cost can be flexible. For instance, if you bargain well, you can get at a lower cost or higher depending on your negotiation skills. Number of cookies sold, that one can depend on your capacity. For instance, you can bake more. So you are asking these questions about your business. How many cookies do I need to sell to break even? Question number 2, how many cookies do I need to sell to become a cookie millionaire? How many cookies do I need to sell to make a cookie, to become a cookie multi-millionaire? So this is what we do. You will simply go to data. Under data on the ribbon, we have the what if analysis. You are asking yourselves questions, what if? So we go to goal seek. We are seeking for a goal. We want to set the cell for profit, that is cell B9, to value. We want to be a millionaire. So if you make 6 zeros, you still a millionaire by changing the number of cookies sold. That is cell reference B5. So it will calculate and give you a solution that, hey, you need 404,000 cookies in order for you to be a multi-millionaire. How about if I want to make 10 million? Again, you go back to what if analysis, goal seek. I want to make, to set cell B8 to value 8 million, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, by changing the number of cookies you will sell. Sorry. I want to set this to value that by changing this one. So I will sell 3,204,000 cookies in order for me to make 8 million. Quite a number. Other questions that you might perhaps ask yourself, will your capacity allow that? You can do the same thing using Solver. I'm sure Solver is not among your menu items from your end. Mine is here. So don't worry, I will show you how to activate your Solver from your end. So you simply go to File, Options. Then you go to Customize Ribbon. Under Customize Ribbon, you will see from among the main tabs, there is a Solver. We have Developer. I'm looking for Solver. You should also be looking for yours as well. Please confirm that you have yours, Ezekiel. We lost Ezekiel permanently, right? Bruce, kindly confirm.
I'm not able to locate the solver tab. I'm not able to do that.
Oh, sorry. But you can see my screen, right?
Yes, it's visible.
I was not saying that you locate it. I wanted to confirm that you can see my screen.
Oh, it's visible.
Okay. So this, remember previously we had looked at this when you want to introduce popular commands and main tabs. But when we want to activate Solver, you simply go to under here, under this Excel options, you click on add in. Are you there? Please confirm so that we can move together. Then down here, there is go, right?
Yes.
You click on go. Again, you will be able to see a number of options. Select the most appropriate. For instance, we want Solver. Yours is not checked. Make sure you check this box and click OK. Once you click OK, it will appear here. Take a second and confirm that you can see it. Once you give me a confirmation, we shall move with speed.
It's visible.
All right. Again, you go to the ribbon, click on data, then Solver. Once you go to Solver, again, you want to, this one is a bit simpler. The objective is in cell reference here. You can either select a value of or minimum or maximum. Since we had started with value, we want 400,000. By changing the number of cookies sold, we have no constraints for now. Then you click on solve. Solver seems to have gotten a solution. You click OK. Then you there, home and dry, that you will have to sell 164,000 cookies in order for you to make 400,000 Kenya shillings. We still have a few things to do before we can proceed. It is going to lunch. I'm relying on you to give me guidance as to whether we can move to the final aspect, final three aspects, or Let me hear from you first. I'm not a dictator. Time is always there, and we are determined to finish, but depending on our learning speed, we cannot just move without getting feedback. Isabella. Joy.
Can have a break so that maybe we can also watch the recording where we have not gotten clearly, then we proceed after lunch or something. Yeah.
That is for you. Thank you. How about Rachel Mongela? Who else do we have here? Bruce. Bruce is not on. And Paul. John.
How long are we doing? How many minutes are we remaining?
I can't hear you quite clearly.
So that
I can't
I'm
hear you quite
asking
clearly. Yes.
the package
Sorry?
we have left to. Hello?
Yes, please move closer to your microphone.
I'm asking,
Yes, please.
how long it will take to complete the whole thing so that we can calculate our time.
Okay, basically we are remaining with the lookup functions, the if function. We shall also look at finding and replacing data entries, basic data importing, just that. And then perhaps we can do simple analysis using the pivot tables. About 4 subtopics that will take about 1 hour. Back to you. John. I can't hear from John. Isabella, we seem to be the only ones left online, right? Rachel?
I think Victor can give us a way forward.
Where is Victor?
Okay, I'm here.
Yes.
So I was thinking,
Yes, please.
maybe if you can have some time to at least fathom whatever we have covered so far, so that at
Yes,
least
please.
when we meet again in the evening, at least we have some practical concepts which we have learned on our own. So I
Let
don't
us have a specific schedule. For instance, we are reconvening at what time?
know, as from 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. We want 2 hours.
So maybe we can meet as from 4 p.m. to 6.
So that is agreeable to all.
Let them air their views. But I think the most general time when most of
Okay.
us will be free.
Okay, that is the formal position. Then fair enough. We are going to have a brief session to finalize on the remaining aspect. Then we go to the practicals. The practicals are the most important because we want to ascertain that we have gotten the content. Plus, on Monday, we are going to have an evaluation. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine, then we can have a break and then reconvene at 4. And please let us meet from exactly 4.
Okay. And thank you for
Yes.
your time. And thank you for your lecture. I think most of us, we have gotten something out of this.
I hope we are going to learn more and interact more, because at the end of the day, it is going to be what you have gained that is job specific from this training. Thank you very much for that feedback and for your time. I'm also happy to have found this opportunity to interact with you. Back to you. You're going to share another link, or we are going to use the same link at 4?
I'm going to share another link.
All right, thank you.
Welcome. We are now free to leave.